I'm going to take this thing off so it doesn't keep slapping me in the face. Members of the Board of Trustees, President Tomford, faculty colleagues, class of 2009, family and friends. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be here this morning and to be standing in this place at this time. Though it's not without a little trepidation. Being voted into something is being different than being chosen. And so the pressure gets ratcheted up. But I do thank Carl and Dort for their words. Actually, they gave my speech. So I'll sort of give a little more on the end of it, but thank you very much. The first thing that came into my mind first of all, when I said, well, I'll go ahead and try it, and then when I found out I had to do it, was that the fact that, what was I going to talk about? And the thing that came into my mind was the year 2009, and the legacy of '09. There were a lot of tremendous anniversaries happening in this year. Anniversaries that have benefited and advanced humankind, but also have gone to help define us, who we are as individuals and as humans. And I picked a couple, mainly out of science and religion, because that's my background, and on a speech like this, you don't want to go too far afield. And 500 years ago, John Calvin was born. Calvin was one of the progenitors of the Reformed Christian tradition. But more than that, his followers, the Calvinists, who came to New England, helped to shape us and who we are as citizens of the United States. They helped to define that for us. And then in the fall of 1609, a 45-year-old math professor at the University of Padua, having having manufactured a telescope, looked at the heavens and found that they weren't as perfect as the world had up to this time had thought they were. That the moon was all wrinkled and rough. That Jupiter had 4 stars, as he called it, and that Venus looked just like the moon with its phases. He changed in many ways how we came to see our cosmos and how we related to that cosmos and what our place was in that cosmos. But more than that, he began a process which I call the technologicalization. I don't even know that's a word. But as a philosopher, you get a little card that says you can invent words anytime you need it. So I've invented that word if it's not a word. The technologicalization of science, which changed science forever. Alfred North Whitehead writes, the reason we are now on a higher imaginative level is not because we have a finer imagination than they did then, but because we have better equipment and better technology. And then on the same day, a few hours apart, in 1809, Abraham Lincoln and Charles Darwin were born. The 16th president and the man who wrote The Origin of the Species by Means of Natural Selection, which I'm sure none of you have ever read, or only a few of you have ever read, and trust me, as George Eliot said, it is an ill-written work. But who we have all been affected by, because it has changed ourselves as how we look at others within our species and the biosphere as well. And finally, in 1909, the NAACP was founded on February 12th, and Rita Levi Montalcini was born. Now, where did I get that one? I Googled it. But I didn't wiki it, okay? So I'm okay, I guess. So I'm okay. She is the developer of nerve growth factor, which began in many ways the whole opening up of neurophysiology and the study of the brain. and begins to relate ourselves to sentient beings. As a philosopher, I'm interested in how that happened and what it means for us. And I do that from the perspective of ethics, and particularly virtue ethics, when I'm concerned with how we live our lives. What have these people told us by their choosing, not necessarily by their works, but by their choosing, how we live as humans in the world, who we are and what do we do. And I will look at the relationship between how the choices they made and the things they did, in the sense of continental virtue ethics, the notion of that congruence or that similarity between the choices we make and how they represent who we are.